Sup everyone, we are back with more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. Where's the judge? It's Judge Jigoku, isn't it? Why else would the judge's seat of all things be empty? There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Ah! Missing our auto luck! Lord Stronheart? Wow. I thought it was gonna be Judge Jigoku. Aren't you supposed to be a Aren't you a prosecutor? Why are you in the judge's seat? I'm so confused. Bro. Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundation of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Male Stronheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. Holy shit. Dude, that is an image right there of him standing at the judge's bench. That is a first. Oh shit. The flames. The 6 jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of the judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Stronheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Von Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Wow, we got an all-star cast for this one. Sorry, I was a bit dumbfounded by what I just saw. He frickin' struck his unicorn-looking cane on on the place it's meant for the judge's gavel. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Barrick von Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Yet even more new music. Ellipses. Counsels for the... Sorry, I need to do well at differentiating their voices right now. Counsels for the prosecution and defense. Are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. Man, I have 3 stoic characters, stoic and deep-pitched voices to, well, voice right now. I have to juggle between Stronheart, Kazuma, and Zeeks. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. Well, I guess that means he's not going to be a witness. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. Well, at least he's not trying to cover up anything. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on October 31st, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. Updated autopsy report. Man, it has been a long while since I've heard that phrase. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday that the time of death was 5 p.m. on November 1st. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So, the prosecution calls its first witness now. Is it Gina? Yep. State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina? Again? Eh, it's okay, they couldn't get enough... They did not have enough budget for a third character from the Yard. What's your problem, Moto? What's with that Gina again? Look, the boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did. Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Told me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina. Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes, no. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday. has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lloyd Strunhart knew. So, Inspector Lestrade. Let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Coming right up, sir.
Oh boy. The victim's movements.
All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss is looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't on to it yet. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too.
Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines. Goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets? It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter.
That can't be.
I haven't heard anything about any of this. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Barrick von Zeeks, was present. That would be very significant testimony, then.
Oh my, but... Lord Van Zeeks hasn't made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Von Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Ding! Very well then, counsel for the defense. Begin your cross-examination. That we shall. Victim's movements. Movements. This really do be a bra movement.
Hold it!
So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see?
Oh. Just the oh with nothing else in it is hilarious. Oh, period.
The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
So you went through Inspector Gregson's things.
Yep, it's part of the independent, the straight investigation.
I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the yards had seen me going in there, they'd have tapped me straight out on the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and a trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. We found it in one of the desk drawers, that had a false bottom.
That's impressive.
So then I went to arm myself when no one else could find me, so I could have a butcher's at what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have turned me straight out on the street. I've given it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would never have been found. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day.
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yep, it was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary.
What?
It's conceivable the club might be used again by the smugglers in future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. Curse you.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now.
Oh, right. I forget she was learning how to read. She is akin to Pit from Kid Icarus. She never learned how to read until recently.
Can I show you what I can do? Go on. What's the
Judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? I insist. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Oh? Kazuma? There's no question that Inspector Gregson is looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Oh shit, thank you.
Right then. I get to show off my reading skills.
I'm proud of you. Proud of you, Gina.
Apparently the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse. Grouse?
Hold it!
The Grouse? What sort of a club is that?
It's a club for birds, silly. I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing.
I mean, the phrase gentleman's club doesn't really sound the best, honestly. For someone your age, it's probably a better idea not to go.
But I am kind of curious.
They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently?
I'll tell you what. Me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Could you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find while I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
Says the even lower ranking detective. Listen, she's trying her hardest, and we can't blame her for that. Let's just press everything. I think I know what it is, but... So how would Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case?
That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so...
Why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings?
Yeah, that's what I was asking myself. 'Cause, you know, I'm just an apprentice.
When it suits you, yes.
Anyway, the point is, something went on at that club, no question.
You can't say that for certain, though, surely.
What matters most is witnesses who saw the Reaper at the place too.
Hold it!
Giotto. Lord Van Zeeks was at the club. Just imagining him at like a rave now for some reason. Just He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members reported having seen the accused being admitted to the room and questioned as a guest. Looks like there's no disputing that he was there then.
Well, we know that Lord Von Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook.
Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there. None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club.
Oh, why ain't you asking Inspector Lestrade, eh?
I don't know. So that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she?
Oh, I really don't know what to make of all this.
Lord Von Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson. But he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident.
You don't think Lord Von Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you?
That's not the only way to explain this.
Oh?
If everything Lord Von Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere.
You mean there are details we've yet to uncover?
Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. I think I can take a guess. Well, clearly, it's got to be this. Wasn't this? Was it in here, maybe? Let's open it up. I forget. Wasn't there something in here? What was this? Or was that the passport? Yeah, that's the passport. Okay. Where did we read about grouse? We read about it somewhere. I just forget where. Was it earlier? The autopsy report. Measures may have been taken to disguise the time of death. Huh. I know I saw it somewhere. Where was it? I still know there's this. Inspector Gregson. I'm gonna skip ahead till I find it. I found something new to examine in this trunk that I apparently missed. Do you see that? There's something stuck in the side of the trunk there. It's glinting.
It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it.
Well, don't cut yourself. You better leave it, I think. Well, that's all I've found so far. Haven't had much luck anywhere else. I found stuff that we've already seen, but not really much beyond that. Here's the passport. It doesn't mention anything about grouse. Where do we see grouse? We saw it mentioned. Oh god, it's driving me crazy. I know there's something related to it. I've been looking into all of these and I don't recall as to what it was. Scorch marks, no. Crime scene, notice board. Hey, you can see all the pins from the bottom, that's cool. Shoot. I still have the frickin' firecracker of all things. I am a bit confused as to what the hell I need to do here, if I'm being frank.
No, nothing here. I am very much... I don't know, I am just... Wait a second. Additional notes. New Inspector Gregson. Trying to see if there's... Time of death. Doesn't say where he died. I was thinking maybe there was something there. Did I maybe miss something inside of here? Let's check. Scotland Yard looks genuine. Identification numbers are correct as well. Really is his identification papers. What the shit am I missing? There is something missing. I don't know what. This is where the little policeman figurine key goes into Wind the Watch. There's gotta be something. I'm just not sure as to what. Suppose I must put in a little knob or something for setting the time. If it broke during the incident. We still haven't found that. I'm gonna have to skip ahead again. I'm spinning my wheels too much here. Oh, I found something. Whoops. The SS Grouse, First Class Cabin 001. Yokohama departure, September 11th. London arrival, 1st of November. Ah, that's about the Professor Mikatoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? So, he was killed on a ship? Yes, I think it's called it... I think it called it Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. To think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Burio. Seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well how strange, where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did I imagine, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Okay, this must be the one.
Objection!
Must be the one. I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Oh, that's what it is. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Dude, he's just cracked in general. Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening in a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on October 31st may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it, here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse. Oh, shit.
Objection!
Oh, what you got? So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name at the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on the 1st of November.
The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, October 31st, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection!
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. Ding. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on 31st October. Okay. Is it the passport, maybe? Within 1 week. Oh shit.
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Ooh. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just 1 day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Damn. Dude got taken hella aback by that. Order. This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night.
According to my father, who is on board, at the port of Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? Oh boy. I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution's strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that's something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Osogi? A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts without exception. Yo, what a Chad. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? But who? Oh, damn. Order. What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. Also the location of the ringmaster's head, as I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination. Erich von Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast-iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson.
Oh, what the hell do you think you're saying, eh?
I had a feeling she wouldn't stay silent for that.
My boss would never have done nothing like that.
And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense.
No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper.
Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Von Zeeks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. I don't know if Gregson was truly a bad guy, though. Unless Barrick Von Zeeks is not the Reaper. Wait a second. Oh my god. Gregson headed to France, and he was planning to take Gino with him. Do you think he was planning to kill? Because Gino was prosecuted by the Reaper. Do you think he was planning to kill? No. It can't be. Isn't Asashin supposed to be the one working for the Reaper? That would mean that... A predictable response from somebody who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard the steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If somebody had been assassinated, I'm sure we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think, perhaps, you've missed the point. I was not expecting Kazuma to just go on me, but he did. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night, with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade.
Eh? What?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying. Even if all them bludgers what got taken out at it coming. The boss weren't the Reaper. Poor Gina.
There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you've spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Damn. Witness testimony.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was October 31st. It said grass for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or summit. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
This poor girl. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here.
Oh, shut up.
This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What can't I deny?
The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on October 31st.
How do you read this again, then?
Reading still under strong suit.
That ain't the problem, alright, Hodo. How come she can read my mind now, too? It's a funny name, it ain't English. It's hard to read.
No, it isn't Asashin. So it's someone from overseas?
Let me have a bash at it. Seishiro, is it?
Oh, So, Gregson was out to kill Jigoku?
Yeah, Seishiro. Jigoku, maybe?
What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku?
But that's Judge Jigoku?
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection!
Oh no. But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to Britain's shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector, personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barrick von Zeeks. It's an undeniably logical argument. Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
The Chad! The Chaddest of Chads! Oh. The fluid boot slam! Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder.
Holy shit, this legend. I was kind of sad that we weren't going to get him as the prosecutor for the last case because of how much I love him. But we're still getting to see his funny-ass, cool-ass, over-the-top animations, but just from a different perspective, because now we get to see the bottom of his shoe.
Lord Von Zeeks!
Also, he's standing right next to Gina. Gina kind of wants him dead, so that's a thing.
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. You will return to the dock. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Well, no, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard about around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony, it's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Oh shit. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper. Who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. A did you say?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance.
My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Oh man, he's doing the same thing that Seishiro did. Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. We'll start this next time on Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Oh man, this is a great start. Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, mata ne.